Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deconstructing the Image. Today's guest is Nicky Hamilton, who is a photographer director specializing in quite cinematically staged photography.
Hi, everyone. So, 15 years ago, I was working at Embassy Saatchi as an art director. I was a bit sick and tired of just, coming up with the ideas and trying to sell ideas that sometimes didn't get made. I then, grew frustrated with being on shoots and not being able to really push the work over the line. So we had a shoot booked in Australia for Foster's. And at the airport, I bought a camera and I thought it'd be cool to shoot some behind the scenes stuff. And I just totally fell in love with, with holding the camera and shooting stuff. So when I come back, I decided that I'd shoot some more stuff, start building up, a body of work. I had a body of work and thought it was good enough to then be a commercial photographer. It wasn't. So I started to really look into what my style is. And about the same time, I stumbled across Gregory Crewston and his cinematic approach. And what I really loved was how really he took a blank canvas and he created an image. So rather than finding an image, and the craft and the passion that went into each of his pictures really struck me. So at the time I was freelancing as a director and that was keeping me busy, but I had plenty of spare days in between jobs. So I started my hunt for a studio. So I moved out of Shoreditch and got a studio close to home. And it took me about a year to decorate and, build the studio up to what I needed. So we, sprayed it all black. We built a hair and makeup room, put all the right powering in, the security. And then it was time to start really practicing this cinematic style of photography. Now, at the time, I had no idea. I had no idea on how to build sets or even how to light. I just, as an art director, I just had loads of ideas. And one of the biggest ideas I had, which was close to my heart, was the story of the relationship between me and my dad's. And it was such a rock and roll story that I just thought, well, if I'm going to invest so much time and effort and money into this, a project which is going to take me a long time, then it would need to be personal and something that I really care about. So I had my project and I had my studio. So if you like, I had the recipe and now I've got all the ingredients. And then I started to have a play. And I think my first picture took me about 6 months because I built a set of a moment where my dad is entertaining a lady in a living room, and it wasn't quite working. The set itself, once it was built, wasn't quite to scale. So I had to take it down, rebuild it, this time enable enough space for lighting and where the camera would be positioned. And it was just a bit of a fast, and it took me too much time and I just got so frustrated. So I fell upon, pre-visualization software, like 3D software, Cinema 4D. And I started again. I scrapped everything. I built it again I built the set in 3D so I could place my lights where I needed them. I could then test some colors. I could see where my camera needs to be positioned. And I could really, render and pre-visualize what I was trying to get before I committed to so much time, effort and money. So that was my first set. And then that formula really I've built on, and I pushed on to a further 13 shots on that project. it took me roughly around 3 months per shot. So it was about 4 weeks to design, to source props, all the styling, and then another 4 to 6 weeks to build the set, and then a few weeks to shoot, and kind of finishing touches, shoot, retouch. And for The Lonely Man, I've done all the kind of post-production retouching work myself. So yeah, it was a real labor of, total craft. I really had this obsession about trying to do everything myself, hands-on. I was even tempted to learn hair and makeup. Like this bee in my bonnet about being a purist and trying to be like a painter, where every detail I took on, and it, to be honest, it became really obsessive, but enjoyable. It was, it being such a personal project was really therapeutic. It was something that I shared with my dad, and we openly discussed memories, and I asked him, what was going through his head at the time on certain pictures or certain moments. And it was great. It was really, really great. It got to the end of the project, which was about 3 years in, and I decided that, there was enough. There was enough now. And I released the project to a blog, and it just went crazy overnight. So it had over 100,000 shares on Facebook. Just loads of magazines contact me. It was just so overwhelming. So I decided to then put the work into, the award scene, and to do a press release and to release it to more blogs. And I was fortunate enough to win an AOP award that year. I think it was 2017. And then, I had plenty of interest from agents, but I just felt that really that was my first project, and I felt that my book was kind of really one-sided, just this one project. So I started on another project, which was more of a observational piece. It was less personal. It was something which was a little bit more commercial, I'd say. And it was inspired by my journey home from the studio late at night. So I would drive along the seafront in Southend, and there's one road just off the seafront which I'd cut through, and there's a Chinese takeaway there called Canton House. And every night the guy would sit behind his counter, and he would just, wait for customers watching his TV, and the glow of the TV would kick on his face. And I just thought it was really beautiful. And the shop itself, it's just, you don't really see shops like that no more. It was something from the 60s. It was just beautiful. So the next few nights I kind of pulled over, just really watched and really looked at this, what these feelings that I'm getting. And for me, the feelings were, it was just, I guess, the lonely act of waiting, and how people spend their time. So you'd have various people from different walks of life, young and old, just coming into the shop, reading a newspaper or sitting on the phone. Some would be talking, others would be carrying shopping bags. And I just thought it was fascinating. So I thought, well, this would be a great project to delve in, and I wanted to shoot on location. By then, 14 set builds, 3 years in, I was a little bit sick of it. So I looked at kind of shooting in the shop, but the shop was so small. I knew that by the time I kind of set up and pre-lit, that I would have to be fast, and so many options I could shoot really in that small window. So, and then also it limited me to what lens and where the camera could be and whatnot. So I decided to build a shop. So after ordering several takeaways, and Tony, the owner, would pop behind into the kitchen, I'd get my tape measure out, and I'd measure in the shop, and I'd measure, all different aspects of the shop, take notes on the finish, and yeah, loads of little wrecky pictures. And then I go to the studio the next day and I build away. And this went on for about 4 weeks until finally I had the shop built. So I popped back, spoke to Tony, who thought I was now his, favourite customer, and explained that I'd built his shop in my studio. He looked at me like I was mad, and he wanted to come visit. So on Monday, the following Monday, he popped in with his wife to the studio. He see the set, thought I was crazy, but offered to donate all the artwork from the shop. So the original stuff, which his family brought over from Hong Kong when they emigrated, which was amazing. So we installed that. I asked if he wanted to be the protagonist. He reluctantly agreed. And yeah, we started shooting that project. I decided to shoot on film because it was an interior from the 60s and it had this, the wood grain walls and the colors I had in mind, the color palettes I wanted to use is really warm reds and going to contrast those with greens. I just thought film would really bring out the character and the detail and obviously the grain in the film. So I shot on a medium format digital camera, and then once I was happy with my shot, I would switch over to a film camera. So I knew that everything was dialed in. I'll just use those settings, and then I'd shoot away. So from my recce notes, people with shopping bags and reading papers, I took those notes, and then I street casted, brought people into the studio and really tried to reenact what I found and felt. So yeah, that was Take Me Away, and that one took me probably about 3 months in total to shoot that. And there was loads learnt there as well. I found that, trying to sometimes you have these elaborate ideas and what you want to do, but there's one shot where there's a boy leaning over in a rugby outfit with his hair hanging down, and I was just literally still setting up, and I just see this natural moment, and we just caught the shot, and it was just perfect. I knew I had it there and then. And then there's another one with a dog close to the window, and we had the first shot was a guy with his dog, which we shot, and then we took a break. And he shut the shop door and came out, and the dog sat in front of the glass and looked at the owner, and then we caught the shot, and I thought that was a magic moment as well. So I think what they taught me was, all this planning and prep that I had experienced in The Lonely Man was amazing. It's amazing to have those skills and to dial in on your craft like that, but it showed me that to also, be open to kind of spontaneous moments, because that really is the true beauty of photography, isn't it? In its reportage form. So after I finished Take Me Away, it was time to look at other subjects. Commercial work had got busy, which was cool. And, at the same time, though, I still wanted to keep up my pace with test work, right? So something that really struck me at the time was mental health and mental health awareness. It's something that we've all suffered from time to time in, different doses. But, at the time I was kind of breaking through the industry. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of obsession with Instagram and who's following who, and awards, and am I good enough, I guess. And I think that's a natural thing to occur, especially at that point in my career. But mental health, I wanted to raise awareness for, and I started to shoot a few pieces. One was where there's a black guy and you got the world closing in on him, and I used yellow as the color of the world of happiness, and it's closing and pressing on him. and it was a kind of a new direction for me in my work. Really, it was about using sets, but kind of paring down things and just trying to be a little bit more graphic. So I really enjoyed working on that piece. And then I worked on a second mental health piece with regards to post-traumatic stress, you know, and in this instance, it's about, you know, coming home from war, but there's also lots of other post-traumatic stress. You know, people have car accidents, you know, lose loved ones. Yeah, so with that specific image, we built the set in the studio, and we went out at night time, went to the beach, and we dug up some clay and mud and filled a van up, and then, you know, laid that out. And yeah, everything in that picture was shot as one picture. It wasn't photoshopped, you know. So that was a real interesting one to do and get justice right. Or sorry, to do justice in. Sorry, to do justice for. So okay, so after mental health, you know, okay, one sec. Okay, so after the mental health projects, I hit a real busy commercial period, and I don't think I'd done anything really big till, I want to say maybe about 8 months, and then that led me up to lockdown. Luckily, you know, I've got a studio close to home, and I'm the only person here. And at the time, I was still coming to work, and I had this, you know, I've got this big space, and I really wanted to do something. I really wanted to keep busy. You know, I was really like everyone else. I was really anxious. I didn't know what was going on in the world, and I was looking for really a creative distraction. So I looked at my family. Actually, I looked at my kids, and my youngest son William, who was 8 at the time, you know, was really worried. He couldn't sleep at night. He thought the world had turned upside down. He had to sleep in bed with us, and he was asking so many questions. And my 14-year-old son Henry, you know, he had his first girlfriend, and he couldn't see her, and he was frustrated. And so I decided to actually do a lockdown project about my family, you know, and their experiences. So I started a project called The Upside Down, and I wanted to, in the first instance, I wanted to build a physical upside down, you know, room, and that was a bathroom. Luckily, a friend of mine who's a property developer had this house, quite a big house, and he was stripping the whole house out, and he phoned me up and said, like, you're going to love all this interior. I said, you've got to come round. So we popped round with a van, and we pretty much emptied the whole house, bathroom, kitchen, and everything. And that had been in my studio for a few months. So I had everything I needed to start building a set. I just finished a project for ITV. It was a big set builds, and I managed to, you know, recycle a lot of that and the woods and stuff. And then, yeah, we started the first build, which was an upside down bathroom. And we plumbed in all the water, and we got the shower to work, and we made like a tank in the bottom. And then, yeah, shot my son lying in the shower, a warm shower, just kind of contemplating the world he's in. So yeah, we've done a real physical take on being upside down. And then from that shot, really, the project grew. It grew into, you know, it wasn't just about upside down in the physical sense. It was about the mental sense as well. So there's shots in the project, you know, my son wearing a mask, being frustrated, and then that grew actually into a short film called 14. And it's a kind of beautiful portrayal of my son wandering around the house, being sad and lonely, and then he gets to meet his girlfriend kind of behind plastic and have this kind of tender moment, and then he has to kind of, you know, he has to leave her, and he falls back into the bath, which then becomes his bedroom, which his bedroom's then upside down.
you go. It's not like I don't know. I kill another day, man, really gonna blow. Keep the blind down, no need to see that sky. Boys, they do cry.
So I mean, the first part of the project took me about 3 months. Then we came out of lockdown for the summer, and then things took a turn for the worse, didn't they? And then we kind of went into that second phase of lockdown, and that's when I started the project back up again. So yeah, having more time, I pushed back into the project, and we built this really detailed bathroom again, with the bath actually flooding. And you know, where my son's bored now, you know, he's indoors, he can't go out no more, and he's frustrated. So he's past the worry stage, and now he's into more of the kind of bored and frustrated. He knows there's a vaccine, he knows everything's going to be all right, but you know, how does he deal with his time? So yeah, he you know, the idea was that he would turn his bathroom into like a swimming pool. So that was cool. And that was a great project where we mixed in lots of CGI, you know, a really interesting set build with, we cut a hole out the bottom of the bath, and we put this perspex glass at the bottom of the bath so light could shine through. Yeah, so yeah, that was great actually. And then from there we moved into building a big kitchen, which is, they're going to be about 3 or 4 more shots from this kitchen. And I'm going to show you around the set now, actually, because it's next door, and I thought it'd be a cool way to kind of end the chat. But yeah, so the kitchen is going to be 3 or 4 shots. I've shot the first 2, and then I'm going to alter the kitchen and then shoot from the other aspect. But I'll show you quickly now. Okay, so this, let me turn some lights on. So this is my office, a little drawing desk, and then this is my studio, which is split really into 2 different sections. So this is this is where the set building happens, so more of a workshop. And then here is kind of plenty of props. Note the kind of take me away props there. And we've got some kind of kit. And then this is the kitchen set itself. Yeah, all this stuff was reclaimed. Even that really wonderful ceiling light. And then this kind of goes all the way around to here. So, I mean, with this picture, you know, this isn't actually a copy of my home, but there's artistic kind of license in the color palette, and I'm really big on kind of matching colors. So like creams and blues is for this kitchen, where, you know, greens and creams were really for the bathroom. So it's a decent size. And then here's some more kind of props ready for the next part of the project, which I'm kind of been collecting. I'm a bit of a hoarder. And then this is my second studio, which is a mixture of where I do some commercial work and also where I store all my midlife crisis stuff. And then upstairs, there's a hair and makeup room. Got a really big kitchen, 2 toilets, a shower. Yeah, that's the grand tour. So yeah, look, it's really great to have a space where I can just stop, start, you know, on projects, I can, you know, I can be halfway through doing something and then, you know, run off for a few days commercial wise and then come back to it. So that's really good. But, you know, with commercial work, we don't have this luxury, you know, there's lots of teaming up with set builders and art directors because of obviously time and stuff. But for commercial work, I love the detail. I love the whole kind of craft, you know, building sets, standing back, tweaking, real having the time to sleep on stuff. So that's my process. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicky Hamilton. Please check out my work on my website, nickyhamilton.com. Follow me on the socials and stay in touch. Thank you.